A very good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another daily market outlook. So in this market outlook, we're going to be discussing the major dollar pairs. So euro dollar, first of all, is in an area of consolidation. As we can see by looking at the current market, we were in a downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. What then happened is that we shifted in towards the highs. We broke this high over here, creating a new higher high, higher low, higher high, and since then we have been stalling. So the current low and high that we're trading in between is this low in towards this high, and we can now see that since that we grabbed again this area of demand over here, which broke this high, we have pushed in towards the highs, but then again retraced down, pushed up, pushed down, pushed up. So overall, what's happening to euro dollar is that we're just consolidating in between the high and the low and moving sideways. However, overall, what I'm looking for is for some momentum to kick in this week. What I want to see is a over here break of this high. Well, we've now seen the break of the high, and now retracement in towards this area of demand. Demands are number one, from where we have a potential long on our hands. So that's what I'm looking for from euro dollar. If we do push down deeper, maybe a wick in towards this zone over here, but for now what I'm looking for is a long from this zone over here in towards the highs. For that, we need to see a retracement on euro dollar for the rest of today. So that's what I'm waiting for on euro dollar. Nothing really for the rest happening. Overall market just moving sideways, so I can give a very extensive explanation, but that is simply what's happening. Targets for if we do move further in towards the upside is definitely this zone number one over here. So at around 109.335. So that's what I'm waiting for on euro dollar, either a push down long, push down deeper long, or a push up, and then just see to catch the overall momentum all the way up in towards zone number one. As for the rest, we do not have any fresh areas of supply. So that's what I'm waiting for today. And that momentum will most likely kick in once we start breaking out of this area of consolidation. So keep an eye, if we start seeing candle closes above the highs, that the market could just start to rally and continue in towards the highs due to the bullish nature it already has from this low in towards this high. So don't just wait for this zone to go long. You can also start going long if you do see the momentum kicking in and this area of resistance starts to break. Now moving on in towards the dollar index. The dollar index is very similar to the euro dollar, has been consolidating. On Friday, we grabbed the liquidity which was resting above this high. You guys know I was waiting at least for this zone number one to get hit. For the rest, nothing much happening. Still looking to see what we can do. I mean, a lot of liquidity below this trend line, maybe a early week pullback in towards this zone, and then for example a further sell-off. If we do start breaking the lows, then I'll target zone number one. For now, if we see some retracement, we can retrace and start moving down from this low, or from this zone, excuse me, or from this zone number one. Overall, dollar index is still bearish from this high all the way down in towards this low. So we saw a big impulse down. Since then, we've kind of had this kind of ascending correction, to be honest. So we're looking for a further downside push on the dollar index for now, and can happen from this zone or this zone number one. So that's the dollar index. Now moving on in towards Aussie dollar. Aussie dollar is a very messy one, guys. Overall, we're just consolidating very clearly. As you can see over here, in between supply and in between demand, what I'm looking for is for some further upside. Overall, what we have is a bullish 4 hour. So from this low in towards this high. Then what you can see is that we got a correction in towards downside, in towards the only fresh area of demand over here, and since then we have been stalling. Now what I'm waiting to see is that can we get some bullish momentum and continue in towards the highs? Well, that is going to be decided today most likely from this area of demand. If we can start seeing a change in the overall structure on the 15-minute time frame, then I will be looking for a long. Otherwise, just let it rip, and there is still potential to move down lower, for example in towards this fresh area of demand over here. So that's what I'm waiting for, guys. Waiting for a potential long from here. For the moment, not really shorts on the table in my opinion, despite kind of like the internal structure being bearish with the high, the lower low, and then the lower high over here. So there could be some further downside, but if we do see further downside, I'll just wait until we reach this zone. Or if we start breaking the lows over here, then you can start looking for one more short in towards this zone over here. So that's Aussie dollar. Now moving on in towards pound dollar. So pound dollar overall is bearish still. If we look at the overall swing structure from this high in towards this low, everything in here is just a correction. Massive correction, guys, since the beginning of February, and overall obviously on pound dollar since, what is it, like January, we've just been moving sideways. Now what I'm waiting for is still further downside from this pair. I would really like to see further downside. As I mentioned in Friday's video, I was in a short. There was a big wick down over here, which you could have capitalized on / got some profits from. As we can see, a lot of bearish momentum. At that point in time, what you then want to do obviously is manage your risk, as we've then broken this structural low. So this is obviously then most likely where you move your stop loss towards, or the highs over here. Overall, we can see the market just reverse back in towards the highs. Now, if we go back in towards the 4 hour, was there anything interesting? Well, in my opinion, not really. Why this market reversed so suddenly in towards the highs and so strong bullishly? Overall, what just happened was pretty much liquidity being grabbed. That's all. We have a lot of liquidity, or we had a lot of liquidity resting underneath this low. As you can see, a lot of equal lows. After taking the low over here, we reversed, and then we came back for pretty much all the lows, and that's when the major reversal came in towards the market, which caused the market to move back in towards the highs. Now, what's just happened is that, pretty much pound dollar has just moved back in towards this area of consolidation. Now that we've taken out the lows, it does become more interesting to start taking out the highs. So this was the low of the range. Now this is the high of the range. So I wouldn't be surprised if we start gravitating towards the high of that overall range and start taking that out. So go in towards the 4 hour time frame. You also see that we have this fresh area of supply over here. So what I'll be doing is I'll be looking to see if we can get any long from pound dollar this week. Just focus on maybe breaking the high over here and then kick in with the overall momentum in towards this area of supply. So that's pound dollar. For the rest, don't want to focus on it too much. Then going in towards NZDUSD, what is happening over there? Overall, 4 hour is stalling. If we just quickly look at the daily, continuation from this daily area of supply, so it does make sense for Kiwi dollar to just continue down lower. Going in towards the 4 hour, then what we can see over here is again a lot of bearish momentum. However, overall, we had a 4 hour BOS over here. So this is your, that's not supposed to happen. So this over here was the high, the low, and then we broke this high over here, so higher high. So overall, we are in theory still bullish on the 4 hour time frame. However, overall, the daily has pretty much made its pullback. If we look at the daily, we can then see that we've pulled back exactly in towards the 50% mark. So if we go in towards the daily chart, what you'll then see is that the market pulled back in towards daily supply. We pulled back in towards the EQ, the 50%. We grabbed the liquidity above this area of consolidation, so it does make sense for NZDUSD to continue down lower. Then going in towards the 4 hour, this demand zone pretty much just filled, so I am preferring further downside. So what I'll be waiting for is just for this low to go, and then I'll look for a scale in on the overall momentum on NZDUSD. If we do break the highs, then obviously we do have some potential to move back up in towards this zone over here. Then going in towards our last pair, which is gold. So gold rallied like crazy in towards the highs. Once we reached this area of supply, we did in fact see like a reaction. But again, guys, remember, a reaction doesn't really say anything. What you want to see, and please keep this in mind, because sometimes people say, but you said this and this didn't happen. Guys, we always need to see confirmation before we expect something to happen. Like I can say we expect downside from this area of supply, but if we don't see any bearish reaction and we just see a pullback in towards this demand zone, this sub for the buy, and we just continue from there, obviously I'm not going to be shorting, right? So just keep it in mind. Overall, nice reaction though in towards the downside, and then we just rocketed up. So for now, what I'll be waiting for is pretty much for a continuation. So this over here is an obvious swing high, and let me just see, did we actually in fact take out that swing high? No, we did not. So what I still expect to happen is for that high to get taken out. If we do, then we might see a nice bearish reaction. Overall, looking for longs from zone number 1 or zone number 2 on gold, and then maybe potentially a correction after breaking that high. Then just wait for a lower time from trend shift, and then you can look for those shorts. So thanks guys for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic day, and we will speak soon. Thanks.